What if I told you that one of the greatest athletes in history came from absolutely nothing? Literally nothing. No luxury. No plan B. No safety net. Just a boy, a mother, and a dream so big it felt impossible to carry. This is the story of LeBron James, but not the one you read in headlines. Today, you'll meet the boy behind the legend, the human being behind the icon. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see a piece of yourself in his journey. Akron, Ohio, 1984. A city forgotten on the map. Factories shutting down. Violence on the rise. People just trying to survive. It was in that colorless, crumbling backdrop that LeBron was born. To a teenage mother, Gloria, just 16 years old. No steady job. No security. No place to call home for long. LeBron and his mom moved over 10 times in a single year. They slept on borrowed couches, counted coins just to eat. But Gloria had something rare. A quiet, unshakable strength. A look in her eyes that said, "We're going to make it. Somehow, we will make it." And LeBron believed her. The only thing I had was the ball. At just 9 years old, LeBron found his escape. An old basketball, a cracked court, and a promise whispered to himself, "I'm going to change my mother's life with this." No matter what it takes, he trained until his fingers bled. No coach, no proper shoes, no fancy gym. Just him, the pavement, and pain turned into fuel. Have you ever had to grow up too soon? LeBron did. While other kids were playing hide and seek, he was counting pennies for lunch, searching for peace in a neighborhood filled with gunshots and screaming, and making himself a promise that he would not become just another statistic. And then, the turning point. A local coach saw him play. There was something different about this quiet, intense kid. Something he couldn't quite explain, but couldn't ignore either. LeBron was invited to join a youth basketball team. For the first time, he put on a real jersey. For the first time, he felt like maybe, just maybe, there was a place in this world for him. And when that happened, something inside him lit up. It wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a calling. While others were goofing off, he was studying the game, watching classic matches, memorizing plays, drilling the fundamentals. But more than skill, LeBron began to develop something rare: vision. If I want to be the best, I can't think like the rest. And that's where it all started, the mindset that would change everything. The mind of an athlete who could see further, move faster. And what about you? Maybe right now you're surrounded by doubts. Maybe you feel like you're starting from scratch. No support, no money, no one betting on you. But what if I told you that the greatest of all time started the same way? Alone, overlooked, but with a fire in their chest that no one could ever put out. What comes next will show you how LeBron turned pain into power, how he stood toe to toe with giants, and how even after being crowned a king, he kept his feet on the ground and his heart on fire. LeBron was no longer just a kid from Akron. He was a rising star. But promise alone isn't enough. The world didn't just want him to play well. They wanted perfection, flawlessness, not one mistake allowed. And this is where real giants are revealed, when the pressure is crushing, and they still breathe and keep going. By 16, LeBron James was on magazine covers, labeled the chosen one. At 17, his high school games were broadcast nationwide. Arenas were packed just to watch a teenager play. Can you even imagine that? Being a black kid from poverty and suddenly carrying the weight of an entire nation's expectations. I knew every mistake I made would be magnified. So I decided, I just won't make them. LeBron James, but he did make mistakes. And he was judged. Harshly. Brutally. Before even stepping into the NBA, LeBron turned down millions. Luxury cars. Endorsement deals. Help from every direction. But Gloria, his mother, looked him in the eyes and said, "Don't sell your soul, son. Your talent is too big to be used by others." And LeBron listened. He chose to wait, to do it the right way, with values, with integrity, with focus. And then, in 2003, at just 18 years old, LeBron James was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. His city, his people, the responsibility to carry a doubted team all the way to the top, to change the story of an entire place. His debut was nothing short of historic. 25 points, dominance, confidence. But the years that followed were a relentless battle. Epic wins, heartbreaking losses, heavy criticism. They said I didn't know how to win, that I didn't have the heart of a champion, but I was only thinking about one thing. I'm writing a story, and it's not finished yet. LeBron James, after 7 years of trying to bring a championship to Cleveland, LeBron made a decision that changed everything. He left the team, joined the Miami Heat, teamed up with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, formed one of the most legendary trios in NBA history. But the world didn't get it. They called him a traitor, burned his jerseys, booed every move he made. And LeBron? I went from hero to villain overnight, but I needed to do it. I needed to learn how to win. LeBron James. In Miami, LeBron changed everything. His body, his mind, his discipline. He trained before everyone else, went to bed early, studied his rivals, sharpened his mental game like a monk. And finally, in 2012, he won his first NBA championship, silenced the critics, and cemented what he always was, the chosen one. But the journey was far from over, because the greatest, they never settle for less. That restless fire, that hunger for something bigger. Maybe you're going through a phase where people doubt you. Maybe you're in your own Miami Heat moment, a hard, unpopular time when nobody understands your choices. But remember, the greatest in history were judged too. And they won. Not because they were perfect, but because they stayed true to their purpose. I always knew I'd come back. Because every redemption story starts with a return. LeBron James, after 4 straight finals, 2 titles with Miami, LeBron James did something few had the courage to do. He came home, back to Cleveland, back to the city that raised him, and the team that saw him leave. But it wasn't easy. The wounds were still fresh. The fans still hurt. The team in ruins. But LeBron came back different, more mature, calmer, a true leader. He didn't come back as a promise. He came back as a man, with one mission: to give Cleveland the championship the city had never known. In 2015, the team made it to the NBA Finals, but the key players got injured. LeBron fought alone, almost won, but lost. The whole world said, he tried, but he can't pull it off. He's not clutch. He's not Jordan and LeBron. Heard it all. But he responded with silence, with training, with focus. You'll see. I'm not done yet. LeBron James NBA Finals 2016. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Golden State Warriors. The best team of the season. Record breakers. The clear favorites. Cleveland falls behind. Down 3-1. Stats? No team in history had ever come back from that deficit in the finals. The city loses faith. The analysts call it over. But LeBron looks at his team and says, "It's not over. There's still time. If you believe, I'll lead." LeBron James. LeBron James Game 5, win. Game 6, win. Tied 3-3. And then, Game 7. The greatest game of his career. The greatest game in history. Final minutes. The score tied. Golden State's offense pushes forward at full speed. And then it happens. LeBron James strikes like lightning. A cinematic block. A play that became a symbol. Blocked by James. The commentary explodes. The world explodes. Shortly after, the championship-winning shot. The final buzzer. Cleveland is champion. For the first time ever. And LeBron falls to the floor. Cries. Shouts. "This is for you, Cleveland." LeBron James, it wasn't just a championship. It was redemption. A response. Proof that faith, persistence, and purpose are stronger than any statistic. The image of LeBron kneeling, tears in his eyes, clutching the trophy, etched itself into eternity. He was no longer just a player. He was the king. But the most beautiful part of this story is that it doesn't end on the basketball court. LeBron used his fame to build schools. The I Promise School changed the lives of hundreds of underprivileged kids, created jobs, revitalized neighborhoods, empowered black athletes, and took a stand politically when no one else dared. Before I'm a player, I'm a man, a father, and I will fight for my people. LeBron James, what does this have to do with you? Everything. Because maybe you're fighting against the odds too. Maybe you're down 3-1. Maybe the world's telling you it's over, but LeBron's story proves those who believe in their purpose find strength even when they think they have none left. You don't need to be a player. You don't need to be famous. But you do need to decide. Are you going to stop now? Or are you going to write your own comeback? If this story touched you, if it stirred something inside you, then hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel. But more than that, drop a comment below with the name of someone who inspires you. Or share a moment in your life when you turned the game around. Because your story matters too. And who knows, maybe the next story we tell here will be yours. Thanks for watching. And remember, you are stronger than you think, and more important than you imagine. Your journey is just beginning.